Back in 2023, the tech world was sold a story, a big one. It was this idea that AI was about to completely wipe out the need for human programmers. But that promise, well, it didn't just bend, it completely broke. So let's get into the story of the great AI lie and what it actually did to the tech industry. I mean, look at this. This wasn't just some wild guess. It was presented as a fact, an inevitability. And this one idea sent a massive shockwave of pure panic through the entire industry. For management, the math seemed ridiculously simple. Why would you pay all these massive salaries when you have a tool that can just generate code for you? But of course, that revolution never happened. By 2026, the whole narrative had flipped, and it created a totally different kind of crisis. So, the big question is, what on earth went wrong? Let's break down the huge misunderstanding that was at the heart of this whole mess. Okay, so the entire theory was really built on this one gigantic, flawed assumption that the only thing that really matters in building software is just writing the code. And this was the dream they were selling. These digital agents that work around the clock, they never get tired, and they definitely never ask for a pay raise. It was pitched as this magic bullet that would solve the single biggest expense for any tech company, people. And for a hot minute there, everyone bought it. So with that belief cemented in their minds, the industry didn't just sit around and wait. Nope. The reaction was swift, and it was absolutely brutal. Just look at these numbers. They are staggering. 2024 wasn't just a tough year. It was basically a declaration of war on the old way of doing things. The market was being completely, violently reshaped. And by the time 2026 came along, the job market was just flooded with an unbelievable amount of talent. And the big companies were pouring fuel on the fire. When Google's CEO dropped this quote, it had this huge psychological effect. It made it feel real. This wasn't just hype anymore. The biggest players in the game were really doing it, replacing human work with AI on a massive scale. The cuts were sold to everyone as a smart, strategic pivot into the future, not the crisis it was becoming. But here's where the story takes a really interesting turn. With a much smaller workforce and billions of dollars poured into this new tech, you'd think the profits and productivity gains would be rolling in, right? Well, not so much. Then, in 2026, the hard data came out, and it was a bombshell. A huge report found that after a $40 billion global investment, a mind-blowing 95% of corporate AI experiments failed to produce any clear, measurable financial return. No profit bump, no real cost savings. The whole thing was running on fumes, on pure hype, not results. And this right here, this revealed the critical difference. Companies were super quick to integrate the tools. I mean, pretty much everyone was using them. But they couldn't replace the people. And the reason why is so important. The tools were fine for small, simple tasks, but the minute you threw them into a big, messy, complicated system with years of history, they just fell apart. There's a world of difference between giving your team a new hammer and firing the whole construction crew. And the reason for that epic failure wasn't really the tool itself. It was the stuff the tool was making, the code. It turns out that free code comes with a very, very steep price tag. This all comes down to a really important idea called technical debt. The easiest way to think about it is like a credit card. Sure, taking a shortcut to generate some code right now feels fast and cheap, but you're going to pay for it later, with interest. Every single change you want to make in the future becomes harder, takes longer, and costs more money. And the scale of this debt, it is just almost impossible to wrap your head around. One massive analysis estimated it would take 61 billion workdays to fix it all. This wasn't just a couple of messy projects. This was a systemic crisis that hit the entire industry. The quick win turned into a massive long-term loss. And as if being expensive to maintain wasn't bad enough, the code was also just plain dangerous. Security reports found that about 45% of AI-generated code had critical security holes. And for some programming languages, that failure rate jumped past 70%. Just, wow. So here's the real kicker. The very tool that was designed to save time and money did the exact opposite for the company's most valuable people. Senior engineers, the architects who design these complex systems, were basically turned into janitors. They weren't building the future anymore. They were just running around, cleaning up messes and patching all the security holes the AI kept creating. And as you can probably guess, this massive technical crisis quickly snowballed into a human one. It completely flipped the job market upside down. The gut reaction from management was pretty simple. Hey, if AI can handle the easy stuff, why do we need to hire beginners? And just like that, junior level hiring was cut in half. This totally broke the industry's talent pipeline. I mean, you can't create senior experts in 10 years if you stop hiring apprentices today. But at the exact same time, hiring for developers over the age of 35 actually went up. All these companies, now drowning in technical debt and security problems, were desperate for senior experts. They needed people who could come in and manage the chaos that the AI had made. But with the market completely flooded from all those layoffs, the power dynamic totally shifted. For the first time in what felt like forever, companies had all the leverage. And they used that AI productivity story as a weapon in salary negotiations, successfully pushing down average salaries by about 9%. And then came the final twist. The whole thing was capped off by a massive scandal when a $1.5 billion company collapsed, revealing one of the biggest frauds the industry had ever seen. The revolutionary autonomous AI they were selling was actually powered by 700 human engineers in India just doing all the work by hand. The machine was a total mirage. So in the end, AI didn't replace developers. What it replaced was the illusion that building software is just about writing lines of code. The great fear was that the machines would make us obsolete. The reality is that they created a problem so big, so messy, and so dangerous that only human experts could be trusted to clean it up. And that leaves us with one pretty unsettling question. Now that we've broken the pipeline for creating new experts, who's going to be around to fix the next mess?